The next class of lipid that we will talk about are called the sphingolipids. And again, the name sort of tells us a little bit about it. Instead of glycerol in this case, we're going to have sphingosine. And with sphingosine, we're going to see that there is a phospho group and an amino alcohol, as we've seen before. And then we're going to have one fatty acid in this case. So here we see the amine group linked to the phosphate through a phosphoester, and then that's linked to the sphingosine through another phosphoester, and then hanging off of that sphingosine, we should see some type of fatty acid. That fatty acid is linked through a amide bond, which is a little bit stronger than our regular esters, yet it can still be saponified. Those phosphoesters can also be saponified and are not easily hydrolyzed, but are easily saponified. And then we can also see that the fatty acid may have double bonds, and we do see that double bond in the sphingosine, which tells us that these can go through those reactions called addition and oxidation. And so if we were to draw a generalized structure, this is going to be one head with our alcohol and our phosphate group, and then it's going to have two tails. One of the tails is the sphingosine itself, and the other one is the fatty acid. Notice that the sphingosine tail is particularly long, and that's going to give us an idea of where we will find it in our body. Sphingolipids have particularly long tails due to the sphingosine itself, and that is the reason that we find it in the brain and nervous tissues. So in the brain, we have something called the blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier is something that protects our brain from drugs and other toxins hitting the brain. Because the brain is so important that we can't have any damage occurring there, the body has made this extra special barrier called the blood-brain barrier, which does not allow everything to go into the brain. So most chemicals that we take in, drugs and things like that, will pass through the body and they'll go to most of the cells of the body. But our brain and our nervous tissue is all protected by these sphingolipids. So the sphingolipids have this extra long tail, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about that long tail later when we talk about the structure of anything that has one head and two tails. So these are found through most of the cell membranes, but they are especially focused on the brain and nervous tissue.